How long does it take for Retatrutide to work? If you think of Retatrutide, it's a triple agonist. It's one of the most powerful molecules known. And we're still learning a lot about it. There's more research on semaglutide and tirzepatide by a magnitude of probably 5 to 10 times than there is on Retatrutide. But from the studies we've seen, there's a reason why people are so enthusiastic about this particular peptide. And in this video, I'm going to show you why this may be the secret weapon for you and how quick you can actually start feeling results without some of the downsides that you'll find with semaglutide or tirzepatide. I'm Regan Archibald, founder of Ageless Future. And anytime you're putting a protocol together for yourself and you just want to feel, look, and perform your best, don't play guessing games with your health. Get the right labs ordered, get the right testing, work with medical providers who are trained in peptides. They're prescriptive writing out of compounded pharmacies. That seems to be where you can get the most accuracy and the best overall program, because we would never just put you on Retatrutide alone. We'd say, well, let's bring in BPC. Maybe we can work on the immune modulation and based on what your labs show with thymosin alpha-1. Let's activate some of the growth hormone pathways. Let's look at some myostatin inhibitors like MOD-SC and ACE-031. I mean, there's so many great things you can do with peptides, but the real thing you want to have is a great team that can help guide you along the way. So Retatrutide, how long does it take before it kicks in? Well, here's what we've seen, and this is in our clinic. We've worked on 70,000 clients and we've helped optimize health in them. And what we find with Retatrutide, since we've been using this, we started in 23. I've been using a small dose of Retatrutide for almost 2.5 years now. And I love it. I tried semaglutide once. I was nauseated. I was tired. Retatrutide, I noticed right out of the gates, it turned off the cravings. That food noise, I still had my hunger. That's one thing I did not like about tirzepatide or semaglutide, and I hear this from dozens of clients every week who tell me that same thing. But Retatrutide, you can maintain your hunger, but it's not the volume that you're used to. And I noticed changes immediately within the first day. And this is very common. Most people, it may take 3 to 5 days, depending on how broken that GLP-1 pathway is in your body. But you'll notice that you get the satiety improves in that first week of taking it. You'll notice not just reduction, but you'll have the ability of counting your macros, for example. And you want to bring your caloric intake down from 2,500 calories to 1,800. I'm just throwing out some arbitrary numbers. You'll notice like instantly you can do that. You can be victorious against food, which is amazing. You don't have those weird cravings. And what this does is it removes willpower from the equation. Ben Hardy, good friend, wrote that book, Willpower Doesn't Work. And so he talks about changing your environment so that your environment is optimized for you to have the right habits so that you can accomplish the things you want to accomplish throughout the course of your day. It's no different internally. When you have the environment where your brain and your appetite's not governing every decision you make, where you're like, man, maybe I could take a break and go get a little snack, or I think I need some coffee, or, all those things. In my case, I wonder if there's some chips I can eat, if I'm working on a complex problem, and chips were the worst, the salty, crunchy things. But what Retatrutide does is it just mutes that. And so it makes compliance easier so that you don't have to feel like a failure when it comes to making the changes that you want to make in your health. And this is one of the most important things. So if you look at Retatrutide, and when you're thinking of, how long before you start feeling better on it, it really comes down to what are you looking for? Now, if you're looking for weight loss, in the studies, what they found at New England Journal of Medicine published this in 2023, they found that the average weight loss of people taking Retatrutide was 24% of their total body weight in 48 weeks. I mean, that's breathtaking. That's pretty much a year, but it was far more than tirzepatide, which was 21% in the same timeline, or Ozempic, which is semaglutide, that was 15%. Both of which are phenomenal. If you compare that to other drugs that have been on the market for obesity, they didn't hold a candle. Hemoglobin A1C, Ozempic on average dropped about 1.6%, Tirzepatide, the studies on average about 2%, Retatrutide 2.2 to 2.4%. So if you are like type 2 diabetic, this can be a phenomenal breakthrough for you, especially if taking metformin or glucagon seems to cause some stomach irritations, which is very common. Some of the things that you'll find is the fat loss within that first week. If you just do the simple math, 1 pound is roughly 3,500 calories. So if you want to lose a pound, you got to go in a caloric deficit. That's like 500 calorie deficit every day of the week for 7 days. If you want to gain a pound, it's the reverse. You add 500 additional calories every day, and you'd be shocked at how, once you start reading labels on foods, at how quickly you can put weight on. So if your goal is, I want to lose weight, how long will I start to feel the effects of Retatrutide on weight loss? Well, that first month, we want to have you on a lower dose. We may start you on like 0.5 milligrams and then work you up after a couple of weeks to 1 milligram. And then if we start seeing the weight come down, great, we'll leave you there. If we need to increase it, we'll go up to 2, maybe 4. And most people are noticing weight loss of about 5 to 7 pounds in that first 30 days. And that's impressive. And what we're also doing is we're using other peptides like BPC-157 because that protects the gut lining. Your growth hormone receptors are more activated. It's a dopamine modulator, so you can stay focused on the things you want to focus on. The BPC-157 is also a great way to recover from your heavy workouts. So as I look at overall endurance and cardiovascular fitness, one of the things that's really important on Retatrutide is it's got glucagon in it. Now, glucagon is one of the peptides that's made primarily in the liver. And the thing about glucagon is it helps combat inflammation. It does seem to have a little bit more of a glucose releasing effect. But one of the great things about glucagon is you can actually enhance your cardiovascular health. And especially if you're using like 5-amino-1-MQ, that turns off that NNMT pathway where we start storing fat as an energy source. It activates AMPK. But if you can activate these other energy pathways, you'll see an even greater level of physical fitness. This is one of the reasons that, after I tried it, I experiment all these peptides. Anything that we've ever asked you to be on, we've tried it ourselves, and I'm usually the first to go. Then I bring it into the medical team. They try it, and then we try it on our clients and see how they respond. And Retatrutide has had a very favorable impact. The biggest downside that we've heard is they say it doesn't turn off my appetite like Tirzepatide does or semaglutide. And we rarely use semaglutide, but with Tirzepatide, one of the reasons why the appetite doesn't get turned off is because of the GLP-1. It's not as strong in Retatrutide, but here's the big but they still lose the same amount of weight. So it is working, but you have your hunger. And one of our goals is we want you to have a muscled up future. We're always thinking about what's the best thing we can do for your brain? What's the best thing we can do for your muscles? What's the best thing we can do for your whole cardiovascular system? And muscle building is a key component of that. And so we want you to get about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And what that equates to is if your ideal weight is 150 pounds, you want to be eating 150 grams of protein a day and digesting it, which is where we go into the digestive complex. So if you're thinking about how quick will I feel the results, once again, if it's cravings and appetite control, usually within the first 7 days, you'll notice something. If you don't notice anything, it's probably time to titrate your dose up as long as you're not experiencing nausea or anything like that. If you're looking for weight loss, if you're on the higher dose, 12 milligrams, in the research, that's the group that lost 24.2% of their total body weight in 48 weeks. That's a very high dose, not necessary if you have the right lifestyle and if you add some of the other peptides in, but you'll notice weight loss within that first 30 days. Usually less time than that. And what our average is about 32 pounds over the course of a year of total weight loss. And that seems to be sustainable so that when we cycle you off Retatrutide, you don't gain all the weight back. And if you love this video and you want to go even deeper, I've got a video on how to dose Retatrutide. We'll provide a link in the show notes below, and I'll see you on the next video.